it through right there to round things off. And then NRG coming on blue side with their first pick. See how they respond with what has been pretty standard thus far in the banning phase.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, pretty much all the highest presence champions, are kind of getting banned out so far. Emilio, Vi, Nico, those are the top three as far as presence does go. Zeri is up and available though. Annie, Ahri, we're seeing that trade all the time. Aphelios is the most picked across all leagues of any champion, not even just bot lane. On 13-11, so it is incredibly popular. Wouldn't be surprised to just see Zeri yuumi going up against Aphelios Lulu. That kind of matchup has become really standard, but there are a lot of options. We're seeing a ton of Lucian. Lucian has been really popular as well, so Kenvi where they want to go.
Hovering for now to see if NRG are going to end up completing their bot lane in this lock-in, and it is the Zeri, Zeri yuumi, a classic combo that has been dominating ever since some of the mid-season changes, but even previously, right? Feels a lot to that original strength we saw from Zeri when she came into the fray.
Yeah, absolutely. And with Ahri banned out, I'm going to be interested to see, do they want to go for a jungle pick here, or do they want to try to match what we're expecting to be mid? Of course, there is a possibility that Annie's flex bot, but I am thinking it's more likely to just have Aphelios Lulu go towards a jungle power pick. That makes a lot of sense. Sejuani has been very strong in this meta. We saw Kenvi have a really good game on it yesterday, so it is a bit of a takeaway from him as well. Contractz was playing the Poppy yesterday, so kind of back-to-back tank games. And Lulu would be my expected pick here, but definitely don't have to go that direction. They could match jungle if they want. Nautilus coming in is interesting because this can be actually flex as well. We have been seeing some jungle Nautilus, so it could be jungle, could be support. We even saw some mid lane, Nautilus around MSI and prior to that. So there are options here. They're keeping their options open. And it's going to make banning in the second phase a little bit more difficult for NRG because there's the possibility of potential three-way flex for Nautilus, two-way flex or so for Annie. So you don't know exactly where these champions are going to go. So if you over-focus your bans in one area, they can just flex those champions to that area and kind of make your bans a little bit pointless.
Yep, and speaking of flexes, K'Sante taken off right now. That has become very present in both the top and mid lane. A lot of mid laners picking that up between the splits. And over on the Immortal side, another note on that Nautilus, while it can still technically flex around. I mean, Treatz specifically, if you're looking at the champions he plays historically, he does favor a lot of these engaged champions, Nautilus being the third played overall, alongside picks like the Rakan, like the Alistar. So if he does go for the pick, it gives him a bit of that comfort, but does deviate from what you expect to see with Aphelios nowadays. Yeah,
I mean, it is going to be a really strong hard engage pick, no matter where it is going against that Zeri. Zeri obviously has so much mobility, often playing with cleanse as well. It does make it really difficult to lock down, but there's no avoiding the Nautilus ultimate, and that's something that they're always going to be able to target him with. Some carry jungle bans thrown towards Kenvi. That's 4 carry jungle bans thrown towards him from NRG. That is really the playstyle that he is well known for. That is what people are concerned about him playing. He could still go towards some of the lethality junglers that are really popular if he wants to move towards a carry jungle style. We've been seeing a lot of Kha'Zix. I think it fits the bill for kind of what style he plays. And especially if it is Annie mid, that's a great combo. You have some AP, you draft a physical jungler. I like this a lot. It is going to give Kenvi the ability to really play aggressive, to look for these skirmishes, to look for these 1v1s that I think just really kind of suits his playstyle and who he is as a player.
One of the biggest questions with Immortals was, how are Solo and Kenvi going to pair together? Because Kenvi historically has done well when he can play these really high lethality, very aggressive jungle picks, but needs a solo laner that can support that and be very team-oriented. We've seen him attempt to really expand his playstyle, of course, picking up things like the Sejuani, but that is the jungler on the side for Contractz this time around. Gragas getting locked in as well as NRG look to round out their competition.
Yep, could be Gragas top, could be Gragas mids. We're just waiting for that last pick to kind of round things out. With the Kha'Zix coming through, you are expecting that it's Annie mid, that it's not a support Kha'Zix jungle, unless they want to do something really crazy. It's always interesting to me when teams, like Immortals go for 5th pick, counter pick on top with a player like Solo, because Solo is almost always weak side player, and he's really someone who goes towards the tanks. So you don't get a lot out of red side when you're last picking a tank, because people can kind of just pre-pick their matchup expecting that you're going to pick something along the lines of the Ornn, of the Scion, and that is what's going to get locked in. So they don't really get much of any sort of pick advantage, with that final pick, but they do have a well-rounded composition. They have multiple forms of hard engage here. Annie engage is going to be strong. You have Nautilus engage, you have Ornn engage. So lots of ways to start fights here. It's very much a composition that wants to be looking for 5v5s here on the Immortal side. You look over at the other team, it's pretty similar. You do have kind of a splash of side lane with the Jax, but the core 4 here from NRG has lots of engage between the Sejuani and the Gragas, and lots of team fight power here and scaling with this yuumi Zeri combo. As long as you can keep them safe, they know that they can take over in fights.
Yeah, how do you think Immortals are going to fare with all of this engage up front while NRG are just waiting for that Zeri yuumi combo to be able to get strong later into the game?
I mean, it's just going to be coming down to, who can find that perfect engage, who's going to be able to absorb that better, because I do think both teams have good go buttons.
And then some of the new faces coming in. I think that's why for NRG specifically, I really want to see what FBI and Ignar can do together.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Ignar has always kind of had this reputation as more of a roaming player, more of an engaged guy. A lot of people know him for his recon. And if it is an enchanter meta, that can sometimes be, a bit of an adjustment period here for these players if it's not really their comfort, not always playing to the highest level that you may expect from them. So we have to see, how well can these guys work together. FBI, I don't think there was nearly as much hype around him as some of the other big ADCs last split. When you're talking about the guys like Doublelift and Prince and Berserker, most of the conversation was kind of around those three. But FBI quietly had a really, really good split. He was top of the table as far as DPM. He had good laning phase. He doesn't die a lot. He kind of, when you think about like what are the qualities I want in an AD carry, he kind of embodies a lot of those, right? He plays safely, he doesn't die, he gets good damage out, he's farming well, he's like kind of doing everything right. But I think a lot of people's kind of knock on FBI is that over the last year or so, he hasn't been able to find those big moments like some of the other top guys have, right? And that is one of the things that can sometimes set them apart is it's such a meta that has been defined by AD carries for a long time now, right? And often it's most defined by these big moments where someone is taking over a fight, where they're flashing and they're finding that moment, they're eing over a wall and getting a pentakill or whatever. And FBI hasn't necessarily been able to find those big game-defining moments as often as some of the other top guys.
And I think a lot of that is not just because of bot lane being strong for an extended period of time, but a lot of the champions specifically that have come in, their kits very much leaning into those flashy plays. Yep. And us as an audience awaiting to see what FBI can do in those specific scenarios, because it does feel like conversation around him has cooled off since when he was on the championship team of 100 Thieves, top of the game, and then now really trying to fight back into that conversation, as you mentioned, Azael, with Berserker, Prince, and Doublelift, that takes going that extra mile. And with NRG in a position coming into the league, really wanting to make a name for themselves, you're hoping that some of the stars on that side can really stand out and do just that.
Yeah, absolutely, right? And they could have stuck with the CLG bot lane, but they decided to bring in FBI and Ignar. So there's going to be pressure on these guys to really make things work. You know that the roster, without any changes, well, that's already a 4th place finish. So they are going to be looking to try to one-up that. The word was spotted, just barely IMT had a vision of it, and it was actually pinged out. So they do know that Sejuani's coming, and that is why you see Kenvi kiting this camp back up towards mid lane. So this is something really smart, just pulling the camp to the maximum distance away from where Contractz will be coming in. You can see Treatz was already moving up as well, so Contractz can't commit to trying to steal that away. So very calmly handled there by Kenvi, and it's going to mean a little bit of wasted time here for Contractz. Kenvi now going to go into bot side and try to see if there was anything available there. Going to be looking for a wraparound gank on FBI. And remember, there is no cleanse on him, so if Treatz can actually find this lockdown, it could be problematic.
Oh, the flash forward from Tactical Root and follow up with a Dredge line. Treatz is on it. FBI trying to escape, but multiple summoners blown in first blood for Kenvi.
That was perfectly done from Immortals. Really nicely done. I was thinking it might have been a cleanse game here for FBI, but he is playing Ghost. No cleanse means Tactical flashes forward, gets the root. The root guarantees the hook and the follow-up auto-passive root there from Treatz. Kenvi's in on top of him. FBI cannot create enough distance to get out of there. And a great handling of that invade. Nice pathing on the wraparound to actually find that kill. Well handled by Immortals, and back-to-back games, they're off to a great start.
Immediate reward for coming with that much engage on the side of Immortals. Tactical on the second game of Aphelios. I think of all the AD carries in this league, he can benefit the most from having such a strong start as a player that has been often defined by his confidence level. How much can he lean into those high highs that we have seen him in the past? And what way to do it other than synergizing with your bot lane, your jungler coming down and making the play happen. Up top, solo a little low, but he's on Ornn duty and very much expecting to be that for most of the game.
Yep, absolutely. He just needs to withstand the pressure, continually keep Jax off the turret. That's really the main goal, is just try to stay even in farm, protect your plates. A good ward around the top side of mid lane, though, is actually going to keep Bolulu safe. This is something I was actually really impressed with yesterday in Immortals game. You know, Dig put on so much pressure around mid. Santorin was constantly looking to attack Bolulu, but this warding that they had for him around mid lane kept him safe the entire time, right? It really made what was, if I recall correctly, an anti-Rek'Sai game from Dignitas look pretty useless. Like, they just couldn't find anything. And that is one of those, like, quiet things that when you're watching the game, it doesn't necessarily look super impressive, but it is such a difference maker to be able to keep them safe.
And I do want to see how Bolulu and the rest of Immortals play together. Bolulu having come in partway through the last split. And while a strong performer, was also noted for the fact that, hey, he's really good at Zoe, he's really good at a couple of these picks. What can he do outside of it?
Yeah.
So I think playing something that maybe isn't as flashy and more responsive to wards and team positioning is a great way for him to come into this team. And right now, using the harass at the best of his ability here against Palafox.
Yep. Yeah, and that is kind of the criticism that is sometimes levied towards him, right? Pretty much no one will tell you, he's not good at Vel'Koz, or he's not good at, you know, Zoe, some of these champions that are kind of really his signature picks. But the criticisms towards him that I've heard from other players and coaches is always about champion pool, right? So if he really can round out that champion pool and be a threat on the meta picks as well as these niche picks, then he becomes a really difficult player to deal with, as Immortals on the bot side looking for an engage.
Follow up on the dredge line over the wall. The laser is good. Treatz is falling low, and FBI zoning from afar, but Contractz is in the danger zone, trying to trade his life for Kenvi. But with Bolulu coming on down, it's already done. The pig slaughtered for Contractz. Follow up with the trade here with Treatz eliminated and the disengage.
Yeah, Treatz going a little bit too far at the end there. I think he maybe could have just walked it out. They do get that initial kill, though. Both teams pushed off the Dragon. Tactical just standing and firing here with the Chuckums getting stacked up. NRG's going to have to be respectful of that. But not bad for NRG, all things considered, because FBI does get one back at the end of the day. And Palafox was able to shove in mid. So, you know, gets a CS advantage for himself in mid lane. And they do end up trading kills. You can see Treatz feeling pretty confident to go in because FBI was split, but FBI obviously on the Zeri just jumps right over the wall, getting involved immediately. Treatz did a good job kiting this out and just kind of waiting for that second round of cooldowns to come back up. Tactical just stepping forward here, and as Bolulu is coming down, Contractz realizes, I can't run up the river, I gotta go back down. So they do get that first kill. This hook connects, but because of the geography, if you will, of the map, it doesn't actually pull him around there. Nautilus gets stopped on the walls for the passive auto, and then that's where I think Treatz just needed to accept it and back off. But he does try to greed in for the passive auto, look for the root, maybe hoping that Bolulu could have got in range with that. Unfortunately, he could not, and ends up giving one kill back.
A little bit of the off positioning there in the end, and also the fact that Nautilus, while someone that can become tanky over time, outside of when that Titan's Wrath is popped, can be, you know, deceptively a little squishy with some hits from NRG there as soon as you pull yourself in with that dredge line. But it was still the 1-for-1 trade, 1,000 gold ahead for Immortals at 8 minutes in. And a bit of a return to lane. Both of the mid laners had used their teleports to get there and won't have those available in the near future.
Yep, absolutely. And both the kills on Immortal's side are right where you want them, right? It's carry jungler as well as your ADC. Those are definitely great places to have it. You can see the Cole is already stacking up as well. That is what Tactical started with. So things looking good for Immortals thus far. And we'll have to see, you know, what they can get done in these next several minutes. Contractz again heading down here towards bot. You can see that Kenvi on the minimap, though, is heading down here as well. If Kenvi face checks, it could be problematic for him because that is a fat wave that they have to actually check through. FBI could go over the wall. They're going to go for him.
No, the sweep was coming. Kenvi on the retreat. So NRG with the help of the bot lane to make sure nobody goes down.
Yeah, that was actually really well done from Kenvi. He buffered his E there, just immediately reacted with the E because he actually got hit by the ultimate, but his E had already been cast. So he goes over the wall, even though he is stunned up by the ultimate there. If he does not react that quickly, he is going to get locked up and very likely burst down before he can actually get out. At the end of the day, in trouble still.
A key ultimate previously used by Contractz, and he doesn't have that here, but Kenvi still falling by every single slash, has to flash out of it. It's not enough. Contractz with the kill. Danger zone on the bot side. Final chapter thrown out. The route onto FBI is good, but he's going at it with the burst fire. Another shot should do it. Tactical has fallen. Treatz keeps himself alive, but NRG keeping up the scrap in the bot side.
Yeah, just barely not able to hit that hook was Treatz. He was so close to connecting, and then as soon as that misses, FBI and Ignar know they can go forward. They know there is not the threat any longer. Tactical did not have good guns for an all-out scrap like that. He was on purple-green, he's not on white, he's not on red. So in that position, it gets really, really difficult. And here I just feel like Kenvi kind of underestimated the damage that was going to come through. It felt like he needed to ult instantly, try to flash out. He waits so long on it, then pops the ult, but the red bird is already on him, and he gets knocked down. And then here on the bottom side, it's all about this hook. On the re-engage, if this connects, you can actually look for that kill. But yuumi is 6, and Nautilus is not. Tactical having that additional XP, his support being behind. As soon as that hook missed, that was the go button. FBI knows it. He can move forward aggressively, utilizing that yuumi ult, utilizing his ult, getting himself another kill, and now putting himself in the lead on that bot side, which is going to be massive because Zeri playing from ahead is so difficult to deal with on this patch because we're back in that Triforce era. This is not a squishy champion that you can just burst out, right? You're going towards multiple tanky items, and you're going to be really difficult to actually take down. You can see FBI now showing up towards top side. They grab Herald. Solo just using the ulti to try to clear out that wave, but it's 4 top. That turret is definitely going to go down if they want to commit the Herald to it. They're going to be trying to trade plates on bot side, but again, not having the proper guns to actually do this, it is not a white gun here for Tactical. So he's not really going to be able to shred through that tower in any sort of quick time.
Separate focuses from these teams while Kenvi was taking that dragon over on bot side. NRG picking up that Herald, really focusing up here on top. Should be able to slam in and finish off these turrets. And just as you were saying, not as much of a push available to Immortals on the bot side, so it takes them a bit longer to be able to even out this trade in gold.
Yeah, and Tactical now, is able to actually get rid of all the ammo on purple-green, so it is swapped over now to white-red. But not in time to actually finish off the tower, unfortunately for him. And Solo not going to be able to actually stop this charge as Contractz is still here on the top side. Farm Krug stayed around to make sure that they could actually walk this in, get the second charge. So that tier 2 now getting quite softened up. Potentially could finish it off right here because there's still not any assistance actually coming up, and Palafox is moving up. Immortals are really kind of not respecting this push.
Kenvi's coming from the base and trying to wrap around for a separate angle onto Palafox in the squad, but NRG very aware of this. They take what they were able to get, which was an extremely valuable Rift Herald, getting 2 charges, more than 1 tower. That second one extremely weakened. And what was a gold lead for Immortals at one point in time, now swinging in the opposite direction, not by much yet, but enough to break that momentum.
Yeah, not by a ton, and thankfully Tactical still has a ton of gold, because even though they took that tower on top side, all of the plates were going solo gold to Tactical. So despite the fact that they got more team gold overall on the top side, Aphelios himself really did get paid, so he's still going to be a good 500-600 gold ahead of where FBI is. He has the Kraken. He's already going to be working on his second item with that BF sword in pocket. And the Triforce really close to completion now for FBI. Just needs a couple hundred more gold, and he'll have that. Very likely going to be going kind of the default build these days, which does seem to be Triforce, Hurricane, and then just Titanic. Kind of that tanky build that can make Zeri so difficult to deal with.
Triforce, the default build for many nowadays, it seems. But we'll see how things go for the NRG bot lane, also having the Echoes of Hylia available for Ignar. I actually recently just finished the Ruination novel, so I have a lot of emotional investment in the name of this item and how it came to be the Echoes of Hylia, but,
I'm so not a lore guy in games in general, so I don't know anything about any of the lore. Unless I accidentally found out, from playing one of the video games or something like that.
Yeah, it was a great place in the Blessed Isles, and then Viego and Callista came and messed it all up. And now we have the Echoes of Hylia and Ruination everywhere, so blame Viego. He has a big attitude problem.
Yeah.
I thought he was so cool when he came into League of Legends, and then read that, and now I have different feelings on him now, but the feelings are strong around this Riverside. Kenvi getting spotted on top of that ward, but it seems that most of the time thus far, these teams have chosen to unlock from their lanes, cluster together, and avoid getting picked off, especially when there's a Kha'Zix lurking about.
Yep, absolutely. A lot of people, wanting to group up, especially as you say, when you are playing at something like the Kha'Zix, you want to have your Sejuani there, make sure that she is the one doing that face checking, to be not just risking getting one tapped by checking as one of these more squishy champions. So definitely have to be respectful of that. On the top side, we can see Solo, going definitely for what is kind of the expected team fight mythic. The Radiant Virtue is more about the team fights, less about the 1v1. Not going to be something like Frozen Fist, where you could actually scrap a little bit better with the Jax. This is just more about that team fight utility. Get the additional healing down for your team. And as he gets up towards those higher levels, we'll start having those upgraded mythics coming through. We'll see when that does happen, because the scaling definitely good on both sides. Yuumi, Zeri, really frightening. Kha'Zix more difficult, I think, to actually make things work in the late games compared to the Sejuani, but Ornn items always really useful. And Aphelios scales really well here too.
A built-in tool. Kenvi taking some damage at the hand of FBI, but it's multiple members of both of these teams with the junglers nearby. If they do get in a scrap, there's a dredge line. Teleport coming in multiple from both sides. FBI effectively brought out of the fight, has to flash away. The Ornn has been drawn, and we'll get a knock up on to 1. Can the team respond? We have 2-3 down for Immortals. Bolulu attempting to escape the onslaught of damage from NRG, but he cannot. Double kill for Dhokla. Contractz with 1 for himself. It's only solo, all solo on his own for Immortals.
Yeah, really well done there by NRG. Quick responses. Immediate double TP came through from the solos. And they arrive so fast, and they have more kind of sustained damage here, with the Jax as a threat as well. So much was committed to killing off FBI, and he did a good job making them kind of over-invest in this scenario. Watch when Bolulu comes in, which is going to be, quite a bit after this, as the initial scrap is happening, double TP comes in, the double TP response comes through as well. FBI is cutting back and sees the immediate flash. Look at this flash response. Immediately flashes away, so dodges the tippers. More spells have to be spent on him, and then you see on that right side of your screen, Jax is starting to get work done. They do kill off that Kha'Zix. Jax gets into the fight, and as Aphelios is already down, there's not really anyone to threaten anymore, because Aphelios is going to be dead. The Yuumi is just attaching to the Jax. There's just so much consistent damage coming through from that. There wasn't really anything left in the tank for Immortals. Once Annie uses her first round of spells, Kha'Zix is out, Aphelios is pressured out. Don't really have anything left.
And NRG made sure to take full advantage of that. Also picking up the dragon on the opposite side with the next kerfuffle here around the Rift Herald. Over the wall, Kenvi goes. FBI activating the ultimate, and Treatz is not long for this world. Kenvi on the retreat as well, and Tibbers down, swinging away, but FBI, he's still up. FBI is still good, and Bolulu gonna come out of stasis just to go right into the grave. Immortals remaining with their tails between their legs, and FBI continuing to rack up them kills, and Ornn drawn by Solo cannot quite connect on FBI with a cat on his back, and it's time to react with a retreat towards their mid lane.
Yeah, everything going really bad now for Immortals, because Jax wasn't even there. Jax took bot tier 1. He's on the bot tier 2. Probably going to be able to finish this off. It would be risky if he wants to finish it, but it looks like he's down to greed for it. Range minions. Oh, it actually went down. Wow, that is so good for him. He does get local gold as well, because he had that assist timer in. So they lose on the top side. They lose 2 towers, both solo gold to the Jax as well on bot side. So Immortals off of that are, you have to think, almost completely out of this game. NRG looking really good. A strong bounce back game from them. FBI, is just having a field day, it feels like, at this point. Immortals kind of moved into that river a little bit haphazardly, and NRG was just down to engage immediately. There wasn't really the threat onto FBI. Treatz was able to buy some time with some nice sidesteps, dodging back and forth, but there just wasn't really any threat onto the Zeri, and it's going to mean you start getting those resets, you start stacking up that additional movement speed during the ulti, and no one can really deal with the Zeri at that point. And here it is one more time. So just the initial engage, they see these members here. They know that they have FBI right there, so they know they have 4 members, and they can immediately start out the fight. You can see there's pings onto Ornn on bot side, so they knew Ornn was down on bot side. I think Annie had showed on the wave up on top side, so they know that they are +1 member here, and that's why they're willing to just immediately go. There's no hesitation. They're +1 member. They're going to look for the fight right away. And FBI having a little bit of a laugh there, feeling good about his position in this game. That item is now completed. And again, going to be looking here for Tactical. Will be sent packing in mid lane. Going to have to back it up. Still in a good spot on the Aphelios. Does have the 2 items, but everyone else is starting to fall really far behind.
And we're at that point where previously FBI was able to get so much damage on this mid turret, so it's just a little bit of a wind's breeze away from falling, which NRG wants to secure right now. Lightning Crash once again activated. Glacial Prison onto Treatz. Done and done. Multiple takedown, Tactical and Treatz at the hand of NRG, who are going to venture forward for more damage onto this tier 2.
Yeah, looking really good there. No hesitation again. Immortals kind of trying to do a little bit of a lazy defend there. They have 2 members. One is coming over. But NRG knows they're way ahead, and if they're +1 member on any fight, they're not hesitating. They're just going to immediately go for it. Sure, you have the tower, but the tower is is a false sense of security because it is very low. So FBI just goes in, pops the ulti, finishes off the turret. As Contractz is going in with the engage, drops his ulti, connects onto Treatz. They burst down 2 immediately. Now they knock down the top tier 2 as well, where Palafox was still pushing. Remember that earlier Herald charge got that. A deep TP going to be trying to get something out, and Palafox very likely will go down as his double TP. It's a lot committed to try to do this, and if he gets out, it's a tragedy, but I don't think he will.
Doesn't even look like he's gonna put up a fight to do so. He knows he's done. Throw him to the wayside with the ultimate, but
they're gonna flip Baron. They may as well. You may as well. Like, you're so far down at this point, they know this is maybe a low percentage play, but this is probably your best chance to actually win the game right on 20 minutes. Gonna start it up. You kill off the enemy mid laner, try to start a 5v4. You look for the turn here, though. There's no shot they can finish. It'll take too long.
Have 25 seconds before Palafox responds with that Unleash teleport. Baron down to 50%. Bolulu looking for the angle. The stun up onto Dhokla, who's keeping the eyes onto Tactical. The Ornn horn drawn and Treatz separated from the rest of the team by Contractz. Dhokla escaping over the wall with a counter strike, but it's donezo for Dhokla. 2 fallen for NRG, but the fight still going. FBI got that cat once again, trying to get the last hits onto Solo, charging forward towards the Sejuani. Contractz knocked up, but not knocked down. Double kill for FBI. NRG taking him down the fastest way they can, but Palafox one coming right back into it, rooting onto Kenvi, and has the rest of the team here to go for the collapse. There's no more damage from Tactical. It's only Kenvi here trying to back in a bush, but they know he's there. So instead, he leaves that Baron in his rear view mirror for NRG to collapse upon it and take it, try to get a kill along the way.
Yeah, NRG just not going to allow him to base. They're even TPing for this. They want to make sure they actually get this kill on the Kenvi, prevent him from stopping the Baron. He's going to be spotted now. FBI and Contractz are still working on the Baron. Is there any chance he can get over there? He's on cooldown. He has no flash, so no shot. It is going to be an NRG Baron here. They're already 7.7k ahead. So the last chance there really was taken and does not work out for Immortals. And now it's just up to NRG to clean this one up. 10 kills already for FBI. He's having a monster game here off the back of that. Almost has the Titanic completed as well. There's just going to be no dealing with him. And here's the fight one more time. You know, I like the attempt from Immortals because they're so far down, but the engage, it misses from Bolulu. You know, going in there with the ulti, it's flashed away from him, and you can see Dhokla on the Jax just flashes away from the engage, goes in, and then watch Tactical's positioning here. He really can't enter the fight because the rest of his team is too far up. He can't walk up the ramp alone. There's just no way. So he's never able to actually get access to FBI, while FBI is just shredding the rest of his team. So the positioning just not on point there for Immortals, and it allows FBI, who's already in a commanding position, to completely take over. They now have that Baron buff. They're going to be pushing up mid, knocking down the last outer turret.
Red Bull Baron buff in full effect for another 2 minutes as NRG push forward onto the inhibitor turrets. Not just FBI making some good plays, but the rest of the team making sure he is never left on his lonesome. Obviously, that is part of the primary purpose of Ignar on the Yuumi, but it's not just him, it's also Contractz making sure to zone off, and Dhokla as well, as Immortals constantly try to get onto that back line.
And they're kind of checking all the boxes, right? You know, you have a Mikhail's now on the Yuumi as well, so even if you land some sort of a stun on him, it's probably not going to mean much, as this could be a Treatz going forward. Great ulti.
Blast from the past, another Ornn ultimate drawn to get a knock up onto 2, but Immortals have to hug their turret. It's already down to about 30% HP. No more wave for NRG to continue pushing up on the mid side, so they bring their sights over towards bot. No support for Immortals as well, so just some additional utility and blockage that they won't have at their disposal. Kenvi trying to step up to the plate, as now there's threats from multiple lanes starting to entrench upon this Immortals territory for a potential end.
Yeah, that good Gragas ulti did secure the kill onto Treatz, and now it's 5v4. Baron buff up still for a full minute. They've already knocked down double inhib. It looks like they may want to just retreat back to the Dragon, make sure they spend up their gold. Despite the massive gold lead, you know, you do want to make sure that you're spending out all this gold. They have a lot in pocket. You know, there's 2K on FBI, 1,500 on top lane, 1,100 mid, and a good 800 or so on jungle and support. So a tremendous amount of gold left to spend up. It's going to be another completed item for FBI off this next base, and then it's just kind of rinse and repeat. Double inhib's already down, so move up towards top lane, pressure through top, wait for the supers to come in through mid and bot, look to crack that final inhibitor. They'll probably play 1-4 with Dhokla splitting through mid, you know, threatening to wrap around on a dive. And it's kind of a checkmate position for Immortals. You know, their only recourse from this spot is try to get out on the map, look for some sort of a pick, preempt the play from NRG, because if they're allowed to really set up in the way that they want, there's not really any answering it.
And in terms of trying to preemptively set up for that play, it's difficult to do when you can't venture into the map too much because of that darkness. Really, it's all about that defensive ward positioning, knowing that NRG are going to try to push forward for an N eventually. The Super's coming down mid. Dhokla making sure to usher that bot wave that will now be his for the taking, with Solo setting on the back. There's too many members of NRG here on the top side that Immortals can't ignore. Yeah,
absolutely. And the first Ornn for a teammate has come through, so Tactical does have that upgraded item, and a great Gale Force actually to dodge out on that ulti. But they just really are lacking in the damage department. It's going to be so difficult to deal with this Sejuani, especially if the Yuumi is strapped to his back. They cannot really get through him effectively, and there it is. It's the 1-4 kind of as expected. Jack's going to be pushing down through bot, force an answer here. Supers are naturally pushing up through mid, and as these waves start to crash on top side with supers threatening in the other lanes, that is where it's going to get really difficult. And this is where it's up to NRG to try to sync up those waves, have them crash at the same time. So Palafox is going mid, escorting this in. He wants supers in mid and bot to be threatening.
Oh, the attempt from Bolulu with the flash. Coming on in, Palafox about to die, but slams on out of it. Solo going for the kill, manages to grab it. Now FBI in for the taking, lightning crash, but the zone off from Dhokla and Bolulu means the mid laner on Immortals is gone. NRG trying to progress forward now in the 4v4. FBI sight set on Kenvi, should get another auto to do it. Everyone's having to protect against the waves crashing into this base. A third inhibitor threatening to fall now at the hand of NRG, wanting to close this game. 2 members down for Immortals. NRG looking to outmatch them and set a very different tone from what we saw yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. NRG having a great game here. It's only 26 minutes in and they're pushing for the end.
They're trying to go for it. The last attempt, Treatz coming in with the dread line, but has to retreat afterwards. FBI knocked up at the final chapter onto Solo, flashing away under the protection of both of these Nexus turrets. A miss from Treatz onto FBI means no connect. NRG don't see the opening to finish just yet, so they'll take the reward of the triple inhib falling and all of the supers aplenty that will now encroach upon that base.
Yeah, everyone respawning here on the Immortals side, so NRG just gonna base up, spend their gold once more here, likely head out towards that Baron. It's up in 30 seconds, so they can very easily take this Baron, or should be able to as long as they set up correctly, because there's going to be supers pushing in from all sides. But really, they have every option in the world. They're so far ahead at this point. With supers coming in from all sides, you can just kind of walk up as a 5-man squad and make them fight supers while you kind of poke and prod away at them, and it becomes almost impossible to deal with here. So Immortals, again, going to be looking to try to preempt the play, to try to find some sort of a miracle engage. And it was a pretty good engage on the Palafox to try to get that pick, try to make something happen, but they're going to have to look for even more than that.
Contractz looking for the opening. Kenvi leaping away, teleport in for Immortals, and Soul throwing out the ultimate, but the explosive cast also offers some separation. Kenvi down at the hand of Dhokla. Palafox low, and ooh, they took out the biggest threat in FBI, but Immortals are still looking to even the odds, bringing it to the 3v3. But not much firepower left, so NRG and Immortals breaking off from the action.
Yeah, great job there by Immortals. They find the engage. Everyone gets in on top of FBI. Ignar was able to drop the exhaust on Bolulu, but it looked like he had used most of his combo prior to actually getting exhausted there. And then even though the AD goes down, Solo can finish him off. So really well done, just to hold on in this really difficult position here for Immortals. And Tactical is just continuing to farm, continuing to soak up all of these waves. So here just one more time, they go in very aggressively as he jumps away. You can see Contractz had held the ult, but look at Solo. The angle from the side here connects with the ulti, then Treatz is in on top, gets that passive auto route. Bolulu drops the hammer onto FBI, gets him really, really low. And then Solo, anticipating the dash away, already has the knockup coming in on the wall there, gets the shutdown, gets the 1K. Tactical had survived on the other side. So Immortals giving themselves another chance here. Bot and mid inhibs have respawned. You can see how much damage Bolulu actually got out. A lot being contributed by Tactical as well, who is moving towards that 4th item, and another Ornn item has come through. He's going to be upgrading pretty much everyone at this point, but NRG are on Baron. Immortals likely aware of it, but it's just Kenvi in the area, and I don't know if he can really do anything to actually get over there. We'll see.
Sweeping now on the outskirts of this
Got no
pit.
vision.
Nothing inside, blocked off by the control wards by NRG.
Yeah.
Down some lasers just to zone him off, but Treatz going into the middle of the fray. Ultimates from both
Tactical!
of them. Tactical trying to go for the kill. The FBI getting the kill onto Treatz first at the start of the skirmish. FBI is solo, gets shielded up in time. Palafox throwing his life to the wayside. Dhokla having to get tactical into the back line. He goes. Contractz pretty beefy for his next target, trying to protect Dhokla, who is just a sliver of life at his side. But Immortals pressing the go button. Multiple members of NRG taken away. They push him off the Baron, and they keep their lives alive.
Oh my god, Immortals are making it happen, making a bit of a believer out of me as they TP back to the base to actually defend their inhibitor towers. They're going to be able to take the Baron here. Once again, the engages have been very, very good. They're able to actually pile in onto FBI. The disengage ulti here from Palafox was actually really nice. That ult from Tactical got so much damage done, but then watch Tactical as he tries to walk in. Palafox disengages him, but back to live.
Oh,
Tactical in trouble.
Tactical in the back of the pit, but still remaining. Throws down. And there's the kill. Tactical eventually falling to Dhokla, but it's still multiple members down from NRG and Immortals. They've got the numbers advantage. They're still on the Baron. Palafox teleporting in, coming through. You can see the pings over on the
He has no smite. He has no smite.
He's a Palafox coming in for the steal.
Oh my god, he had no smite. They tried to actually stop to wait out the combo, but Palafox just takes it away. Not like this.
No!
Immortals were almost making the comeback happen. They lose the Baron here. I want to watch. Did he actually use the smite in this fight? So this is that. Oh, this is actually just the steal. So he already didn't have it. But what I'm really curious about is, did he smite Dhokla and actually spend the smite on that before the Baron? It would be hard to blame him. Look at Dhokla. He's just like calculated, knew we had it the whole time. It was fine. Oh my god. That is actually such a heartbreaker for Immortals, who have been really fighting tooth and nail to hold on. If they get that Baron, that is such a boon, right? It's a 1,500 gold. Swing towards their opponents. So that's a 3K differential, right? They should be getting 1,500, not their opponents from that. That really hurts because we would be almost dead even as far as like stats go when you count for all the Ornn items if they had gotten that Baron. It would be pretty much to parity. Yes, the map positioning is still a lot better for NRG, but Immortals were really close to being like right back in it. And that Baron again puts them under a lot of pressure because it is going to be the push now from NRG. And one mistake really will still end the game here. NRG still up about 7K. They're now on soul point off the back of that as well. And it's just that one flimsy, nice sidestep.
Oh, Contractz was attempting to throw that ultimate right behind them though. So no major engage yet between these two teams. But yes, that Hail Mary play by NRG to send Palafox the way of Baron to stop it, while also progressing Contractz and the rest towards that Dragon to put them on soul point. Now, with full pressure across these waves once more, of course, those numbers are up, but here we go. Contractz knocked up for a moment's time, but backs up with the rest of the team. Dhokla making sure to keep that pressure over on the top side so that this inhibitor can fall down and Immortals have to split themselves.
That was really well done, though. They actually got the Zeri all out there, so FBI not going to be able to just kite forever. But now the split push pressure is coming in. Jax, no one can deal with him 1v1, so they got to look for an engage. The root engage coming through!
Oh, and Solo's trying to get a knockup. Does so onto FBI. Will the rest of the team be able to follow? Flash out by Palafox and has to bow time away. There's the flag once more. FBI trying to dish back the damage after activating here. With a cat on his back, throwing over to the Sejuani, and Kenvi, invisible for a moment's time, was looking for the play, but could not connect.
Yeah, could barely not get in range. They had FBI, I want to say down to like 50 HP before that shield and heal came in from Ignar. That was incredibly close to actually getting that kill. They couldn't quite finish him off. But the problem is, when you fail that engage, no one can answer the Jax. The Jax takes top inhib, he takes mid inhib, both for free. And Immortals are just going to be kind of pinned into their base now. And it's in this awkward position, all because this Baron play went so poorly, where, you know, you're going to be dealing with a soul point spawn. And if Immortals all show up to actually deal with that soul point and look for a team fight, Jax could just end the game. They don't need to actually contest it on the NRG side. So they're the ones holding all the cards. It's Immortals that needs to force a fight immediately, win the fight immediately, then respond to the Jax while also pushing out lanes. So it becomes really, really difficult, especially because Solo is just about to get his TP up, but he hadn't had his TP up for a while. So couldn't really be that person to respond. You can see the Jax already up to 4 items, has that Zhonya, so is definitely ready to 5v5.
It's so hard because Immortals are somewhat reliant upon where NRG end up leaning. Some of their picks prior that gave them these fights were when they were awaiting for the progressive warding from NRG, awaiting them to push through this jungle because they knew where the waves were coming from. But now you've only got a partial turret around your Nexus.
It doesn't do anything.
2 inhibitors down.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit of time that you buy, but not much really if NRG decide to hit the go button on the play.
Yeah, I mean, that tower could get backdoored, right? Like, if you all walk out of the base and multiple people TP in, you could just lose to a backdoor. So they're basically locked in your base forever, and it gets in this weird situation that you've all kind of been in these games before, and this is what a lot of people's frustration is with split push, is that it can feel like your options are so limited when you get into these spots. It's like, what are you supposed to do from here? There's not really any good options. No one can 1v1 the Jax, but you need to hard engage on the other side, then also deal with the Jax. Solo needs to go to the team to be able to 5v5 because he's not built for the 1v1. But how do you do that without Jax just killing your base? And that is really that situation that they're dealing with. NRG just trying to keep their opponents pinned in the base here. Deny all this vision. You can see they've swept out this entire area. There's no vision at all. So Immortals are going to be tasked with this really difficult job of trying to get out on the map, potentially contest Soul without losing the base and without getting picked off as you walk out there.
With all of their ultimates up, they have to make sure that they make them worthwhile the next time that they engage here against NRG. The only flash missing on Immortals' side is Solo, whereas NRG are still awaiting the flash on Palafox and FBI, as well as that heal on Ignar.
Both ADs, though, full build, right? And you can see that Bolulu has his death cap completed now, so he's relatively strong. He just popped an elixir. So everyone kind of knows, it's that feeling in the air that this is probably going to be where the game is decided here. They have Bolulu answering. I actually like that instead of the Ornn. The Ornn needs to be the one to face check. So Solo is pushing up here. They want to try to fight for this. Solo moving in. Here comes Tactical and Treatz. They're going to look to actually try to battle it out here. Well, Bolulu looks to answer the Jax. We'll see how they can do on both sides.
The fight over potential NRG Dragon Soul. Dhokla zoned off by Bolulu, but on the Dragon, Treatz falling down to half HP, but same with Contractz. The final chapter thrown out from yuumi atop of FBI. Dragon slain here by IMT, denied from NRG, and Bolulu making sure to keep
Dhokla's
Dhokla
coming for the flank.
Bay. He's coming to collapse on the rest of Immortals since his job is done over in the base. FBI keeping his sights onto Solo, who's able to tank up so much of that damage though, and now Tactical stepping forward to zone off with the damage that he has.
That was so well handled by Immortals again. You know, able to kite out the Zeri ultimate. They push them off the Dragon. They have Bolulu answering the Jax, but I think is a much better lane assignment at this point. They steal the Dragon away, so they get that bounty, but now you have to do it again because the Baron is on the map and this pressure is going to keep coming. The inhibitors will be respawning relatively soon. You can see it's only 1 or 2 more waves of supers, but the pressure is here and the pressure is now as they're already onto this Baron. Solo is not with the team. He does have TP, but he's got to be the one face checking, so he can't be answering those waves. But they know that it's going to get burned down so quick this late in the game, so now they have vision. Dhokla is in a great flanking spot and will be spotted, so they push him off the Baron. Someone's got to get back to base, though, and now answer these supers. And then again, NRG can just start it up one more time. They can just continue rinsing and repeating. Solo back to base to finish this wave up, but it's going to be another start.
For a bit of time, that vision was able to buy it for Immortals, but NRG just stepping back up to it immediately after clearing out, throwing the orbs on the opposite side.
Oh, Bolulu's looking for Jax. They're sending 2 for Dhokla. Now Dhokla just needs to buy time. They're going to try to finish this.
Kenvi taking the Baron, bringing back a win condition for Immortals if they can try and throw it over. Bolulu making sure to flash for it and get the stun. They finish off Dhokla. So NRG losing their top laner. Immortals, the jungler, trading his life for that Baron. But oh, is it still tight?
Ain't no way they steal that Baron. They try to 50-50 it. No one's actually disengaging Kenvi. You need to have Palafox in that situation. You know, when you're going for the finish, Palafox needs to be going over the wall, ulting Kenvi away, you know, preventing that steal from happening. No one did it. Kha'Zix gets in there, and Kha'Zix has a way better secure than Sejuani. You know, you're going to be doing a lot of damage at this point. We'll see exactly how low it got. They're hitting it over the wall as well. He goes in, and it's at about 2K, and they just burst it down. Both junglers use their smite. Last HP I saw was like 96, so I think it maybe got smote 296, but you really can't blame Contractz in that position. I feel like it's a team thing because Aphelios is hitting it over the wall, and Kha'Zix has great smite secure, so that is a really difficult situation. It's just straight up a flip. NRG should not have allowed it to become a flip. Now the gold lead just is irrelevant. Like straight up, it doesn't matter at all. The Ornn items are more than the difference in the gold lead. So it is just straight up down to execution. With Dhokla getting picked off there, we're kind of back here in this reset spot. And Immortals, they have the Baron. They're the ones pushing. They're the ones going to be putting pressure on NRG for the first time here. Dhokla looking for a potential flank angle, but he's been spotted. So maybe Immortals can try to find a turn onto him.
And Tactical knows that he's the one that Dhokla is looking at, so making sure to lean towards the team. Hook onto Dhokla. Immortals afraid to step up though because FBI has crashed over the wall with the lightning crash. He goes and into stasis. Treatz flashes immediately after. Solo gets a
tactical
one, but Kenvi right in the center of them all. Lock onto FBI, who has to be resurrected after being burned down. And Contractz low as well. FBI eliminated from NRG, and Immortals sends them packing. Baron buff still in tow for 55 seconds as they collapse upon these mid turrets. Who cares if you already lost 10 of your own, if you have your full team behind you, pushing back against NRG.
Oh my God, they're gonna push for the win here for sure. They're gonna try to do it, we'll see. Can NRG hold on here? Tactical went crazy, getting so aggressive, taking down FBI when the Zeri fell. Everyone else was sure to follow. In they go, they're gonna try to look it.
The last stand of NRG with no AD carry in sight. Can be taking another down, leaps on out of it,
They're
but
so
still
low.
keeps the life. Is it enough? They take down one of the turrets. Multiple members still standing for NRG, but not a lot of damage. Palafox going on in to try to get Kenvi, but is not successful. Tactical ripping up too much damage. Immortals begin their ascent of summer with 2 wins.
What a comeback from Immortals! I cannot believe